You've just purchased a new laptop or gaming PC, but your internet is slow, and downloading your games to your new PC is going to take hours. The great news is there's a way to copy your games from your old PC to your new one much more quickly. In this video, I'm going to cover how to do this with 4 of the most popular game launchers, namely Uplay, Steam, Epic, and Origin. I'll place some time codes on the screen right now, so if you want to skip to a particular launcher, you can easily skip ahead to that part of the video. I'll also place timestamps in the video description, as well as pin them in the comments. There are a lot of different ways to move files from one computer to another, but I think the simplest and probably the most common way people are going to do this is by using an external hard drive like this guy right here. So yeah, you're probably going to need one. The easiest launcher to do this with is Uplay, so I'm going to start there first. The first thing we need to do is locate our old game files on our old PC. If you have your games saved to the default location, then you should find your games in C, Program Files, x86, Ubisoft Game Launcher, and then in Games. If you're like me, on the other hand, and have your games saved somewhere else, you'll need to go to that folder and then copy the game you want to your external drive. Hopefully, I don't need to tell you that you need to plug your external drive into your computer to do this. I figure I shouldn't have to tell you that, but I just did. Subscribe! Every game I copied for this video took around 10 minutes to copy over using my USB 3 external hard drive. If you haven't already done it, you can use this time to install the Uplay launcher to your new PC and get logged in. Once the game folder has been copied, you can then plug your external drive into your new computer and copy your game onto it. Where you choose to copy it to is, of course, a matter of personal preference. You can copy it to the default directory or wherever else you want. Many computers nowadays will use a 250 to 500 gig SSD as the C drive and also have a secondary drive of 1 or 2 terabytes for mass storage. Most of my games are in the neighborhood of 50 gigs or more, which would fill up a smaller SSD pretty quickly. So I put my games on a secondary drive I call my game drive, where I have the games divided up into their individual launchers. With Ghost Recon Breakpoint being a Uplay game, I'm going to copy it into my Ubisoft folder here, and this is going to take about 10 minutes or so. Once your game files have finished copying, you want to open the Uplay launcher, go to your games list, click on the game you want to install. In my case, it's going to be Ghost Recon Breakpoint here. Then click Locate Installed Game, and then navigate to the game folder you just copied over. Click OK, and the launcher will very quickly validate the files, and you're good to play. Next up, we're going to look at Steam. The default location for your Steam games is C, Program Files, x86, Steam, Steam Apps, Common. Just like before, if you've saved your games elsewhere like I do, then you're going to have to go to that folder and copy your game folder to your external drive, just like we did for our Uplay game. While that's copying, let's go over to our new computer and install Steam, if of course you haven't already done so. If you plan to copy your game to the default folder, then you don't need to worry about this next bit I'm going to go over. But for people like me that save their games to a secondary drive, you'll need to open Windows Explorer, navigate to the drive you're going to be copying the games to, and then create a folder to save your Steam games to. I'm going to call mine Steam, and inside that folder you need to create another folder called Steam Apps, all lowercase letters, just like I'm doing here. In that folder, we're going to create one more folder called Common. Again, all lowercase letters. This is the folder we're going to copy our Steam games into. We now need to go back into the Steam client and click on Steam at the top left of the window. Go to Settings, then Downloads, and then Steam Library Folders. Click Add Library Folder and navigate to the Steam folder you created and click Select. We're now ready to copy over our games, but before we do that, we need to exit Steam. It's important to exit the launcher at this point because if you don't, it'll try to download the game rather than discover our copied files later. Once our game has finished copying to our external drive, we want to bring it over to our new PC and copy it into the common folder we just created, or to C program files, x86, Steam, Steam apps, common, if you're using the default location. Once your game has finished copying, you'll need to go into your Steam library to your game and click on Install. Here you'll want to make sure the game is installing to the directory you copied your game into. If you copied to the default directory, make sure it's set to install there. As for me, I need to make sure I point it to the new Steam folder I created. And now we can click Next, and then I agree. And now Steam will begin discovering the game files. This process takes a few minutes, and once it's done, we can click Finish. And that is it. If you've been watching the tutorials for the first two game launchers, then there should be no surprise as to what we're going to do right now for Epic Games. First thing we're going to do is copy our game from our old computer to our external hard drive. If you installed Epic to the default location, that should be in C Program Files Epic Games. I did not install Epic to the default location, so if you're like me, you're going to have to go to the directory you installed it to find your games. While the game is copying, we can head on over to our new computer and install the Epic Games Launcher. In your games library, you're going to click on the game you want to install, choose where you want to install that game to, and click Install. The game will then begin to download. All we need to do now is wait for it to say installing like it does right now, and then you can click to pause the download and exit the Epic launcher. Just like we did with Steam, you must exit the launcher for this to work properly. As soon as our game finishes copying from our old computer to our external drive, we can move it over to our new computer and begin copying the game folder to the directory we told the game launcher we wanted to install to, replacing the game folder created by the Epic Games client. Once our game folder has completed copying over, we can now reopen the Epic Games launcher, go back to our games library, and click on Resume. Rather than downloading the rest of the game, the launcher will recognize that the game files are already there, verify them, which takes between 5 and 10 minutes to do, and then it'll do a really quick install pass, and now your game is installed and ready to play. The last game launcher I'm going to go over is the Origin launcher. It works very similarly to the Epic Games launcher when it comes to copying games over, so if you just watch that one, this is going to look pretty familiar. The default location for Origin games is C Program Files Origin Games, so we'll first need to go there, or if you chose to install your Origin games to a different location, you'll need to go to that directory on your old PC and copy the game folder you want to your external hard drive. We then need to install the Origin launcher onto our new PC, and once that's done, we're going to do the same thing we did with the Epic Games launcher and select the game we want to install, click Download, choose our language, and Accept. Here we are given the choice to either install the game to the default location or choose a different location. As you know, I like to install my games to my D drive, so I'm going to select my D drive and create a folder called Origin Games. Select that folder and click Next. We then have to check the I have read and accept the above license agreements box here, and once we click Next, the game will begin to download. Once it's begun downloading, we can pause our download, just like we did with the Epic Games launcher, and then exit out of Origin. You don't need to sign out of it, but You do need to exit the launcher for it to recognize our copied game files here in the next little bit. We'll then grab our external hard drive with our copied game and copy it to the directory we began downloading that game to on our new computer. Once the game folder has finished copying over, we can reopen the Origin launcher, click on our game, and click Resume. You should see this wheel spin for a minute or two and then begin to download, but since the game files have already been copied to the correct folder, the launcher will recognize them and your game will quickly become playable. So what are your favorite games to play right now, and which launcher do you like the most? The comment section is ready and waiting. Personally, I like Uplay. The way they allow you to simply copy your game files over and then locate installed games, I think is great. It makes copying games and even moving games from one directory to another really freaking easy. If you enjoyed the video, please do all the YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe, and share it with your friends and family. If you really enjoy what I do here on my channel and would like to help support me in making more videos like this one, check out the link to my Amazon store in the video description where you can purchase some of the cool products I feature in my videos. Thanks for watching, I hope you have a great day, and we'll catch you later.